Hi, Mel, and welcome to the Good in Motion podcast. I'm excited about this conversation. I want to introduce to my audience today Mel Charles, who is a diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI consultant, a certified end of life doula, and a professional tarot reader with over 5 years of professional experience. And I didn't know that, over 1,000 readings. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Julia. Thank you for having me. I am honored to be on the Good Emotion podcast. I am, yes, a friend, but also a fan and a longtime listener. So it is such a pleasure to be a guest on your podcast and that you thought of having me on. I'm so honored. I'm very much looking forward to the rest of our conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to take them because I
Good.
heard that if you don't accept people's compliments, they might not give you more of them. So I'm just going to welcome them. Thank you for
Of
supporting me.
course. Of
So
course. Of course.
I have a first question related to what you do, because for people who listen to these episodes, your titles are quite diverse. And the first question that comes to mind is, what did you want to do when you were a child?
Ever since I was a child, my parents, I'm assuming like most of us born in the 90s, had a camcorder in their hands for most of my childhood. And if you look back on those videos, I'm always holding a microphone. So I used to have one of those microphones in my hand, and I was hosting things and doing dances and trying to be like a comedian. So there was always some form of like entertainment in my background for sure. I knew that I loved to talk. So communication and speaking was definitely going to be in my future. My number one dream was to be a talk show host. So I wanted to go and be a broadcaster. I've always said I wanted to be the Canadian Oprah. That was my goal. I pursued that for years. So my professional background is in communications. I did get my bachelor's degree in communications and French literature. So I like to say that I'm a communicator not only by nature, but by trade as well. And after that, I got a specialization in broadcast journalism. The goal was definitely to be on air, to be on the radio, and to speak for a living. That was definitely what I wanted to do. There were some side passions as well, like dance. So I used to love to choreograph for friends and talent shows as well. So dancing is one of my biggest passions, but it's not something that I ended up pursuing. Life had other plans for me, and I'm okay. I'm good with a good pivot. So I ended up pursuing communication, and that's sort of where the bulk of my experience stems from.
Okay, I didn't know about the dancing, or maybe I forgot.
Mhm.
So do you still dance?
For fun, yes, but not professionally, no. So
Okay.
I do still like to take classes. I think where I get a bit of my dance energy out is through yoga. So I
Okay.
love yoga, which kind of falls into alignment with a little bit of what I do now, but yoga for the mindfulness and for the movement of the body as well. I find that yoga is a form of a dance outlet.
Would you say that entertainment is helping you maybe with what you're doing now?
100%. I wouldn't say entertainment is as much at the center of it anymore because essentially, when the broadcasting dream, I don't want to say ended because the
Mhm.
dream never ended, but it shifted, right?
Yeah.
In being a broadcaster or a host, you are representing the organization or the project that you're hosting for. So your voice needs to be tailored, right? And you are the face of something else that isn't necessarily yours. Like my experience is still very helpful to me in what I do because now in having to be, and you know this very well too, like having to be online and having to come up with content and having to speak with others, like I do recognize that my communication experience serves me a lot in what I
Yeah.
do today and helps me feel really comfortable in crowds and being able to kind of have that conversation. So it's been helpful, but being the entertainment for somebody else or for another company or the face of
Yeah.
someone else, I kind of turn those skills into them serving me and what
Okay.
I'm doing right now.
So, for example, when you say yeah, communication skills, you took them and now you're using them in what you do now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What created the shift and eventually now you're a consultant? Was there different multiple moments that led to you taking that pivot in your career, or was it one specific moment?
Absolutely. So there are three specific moments because
Ah, okay.
so my business is Nubian Divinity, and within that business, I have three different branches. So
Mm-hmm.
I cover spirituality, equity work, as you've mentioned, so equity consulting and end of life care.
Yeah.
How it started with spirituality, that was through card pulling. So I have always been interested and intrigued in everything that had to do with divination, magic, the unknown, spirituality. I also grew up very Catholic. I was always raised in that environment, in that belief of a higher power. And that was always very interesting to me. It's just in how I pursued it was very new because card pulling, divination is very against most religious practices. And so, because that wasn't permitted, it was something that I didn't really do for a little while. Like I was interested and curious, but I didn't pursue it as deeply as I did in the last few years. So I was introduced to a deck. So a deck is like the cards that I use to do the divination, to do the readings. And one of my friends pulled a card for me and said, you know, I have this message for you. And I pulled a card and I saw the card and the pictures and the message. And I thought, oh my God, I need this in my life. So I got that deck and I started pulling. It was like they were meant to be in my hands. The way I picked it up was so quick, and it started with one deck. And now, I'm not gonna say the number on air because, but I've accumulated quite the collection of decks since then. So that's kind of how the spirituality aspect of it started. And while I was doing that, I was also experiencing some troubles, I would say, in my current workspace. So this was also during the time of George Floyd's murder. And at the time when this happened back in 2020, there had been a lot of conversations and rumbles in a lot of workplaces. That's actually how I ended up being propelled into DNI work. So, interestingly enough, the way it happened was quite problematic because I was not in a position where I should have been handling those types of conversations or handling that file because I was not compensated for it. And the only qualification I had was because I was the only Black member on the team within that position that they felt was qualified to have the conversation. However, it ended up unlocking this whole new angle and also this whole new field of work that I didn't realize could be a profession. Luckily, during that time, I got connected with a mentor I'm still very, very close to, very good friends with. And this person guided me through facilitation and took me under their wing and helped me out with what it meant to be an E&I consultant and realizing that a lot of the experiences that I had accumulated throughout my working experience and also my own lived experience as being a Black woman in predominantly white spaces, being a Black woman in society in general was very helpful to feed into this experience that I was trying to teach others about as well. So once I kind of got those tools and I got the language, because there was a lot of new language, it's like feelings and things that I had experienced throughout my life, but I hadn't really found the right wording or the right way to describe that experience. And doing E&I work helped to kind of broaden my horizon and also just expand my world on how diversity isn't just only about race, but there's so many different aspects of it on, your sexuality, your religion, your social status, your accessibility, whether you're physically abled, whether you're a person who experiences deafness or blindness. So I was very, very interested in that. And diversity brings this extra angle to, well, how are we treating other people? How is the world set up for people who might have less opportunities or more opportunities, depending on how they show up in the world? So it ended up being a side desk job that turned into a passion. And I continued to pursue that. Due to this mentor, I was able to get working opportunities with other organizations where I was doing facilitation sessions, I was doing policy reviews, language reviews, one-on-one sessions as well, especially with managers, because they're the ones who hold the power and who are able to dictate the dynamic of their workspace. So I was working with people in senior leadership positions closely and other folks on the team. So that developed on its own. And then eventually, I remember bringing up to my partner that I wanted to combine spirituality and equity work. And that felt like a bit of a hit because I remember that thought just coming to mind and thinking, okay, well, what does that mean? Right? Like, what is that going to look like for me? And I tapped into my cultural background. So both my parents are Haitian. I was born in Canada. And I am very proud, also very fascinated by Haitian history, Haitian culture, and just sort of what has led to where we are today. Essentially, Haiti was the first Black nation to gain their independence in 1804. And through that, there is a mix of equity and spirituality because I'm really butchering the history. So, people, please do your research as well. But there was a ceremony that was mostly rooted in voodoo, so in voodoo culture and voodoo practices. And so that's the spiritual aspect. But whether people want to believe that voodoo had a role in the independence, whether the spell or the ceremonies may have worked or not, what I like to pull out of that is the fact that spirituality brought about community, brought about the desire for liberation, brought about justice. And there's one spiritual worker who does something quite similar to me. Her name is Jujube, and she always mentions spiritual work is liberation work. And this speaks very, very much into what it is that I do, because I find that in liberating yourself spiritually, listening to your own voice, listening to what you feel is right, getting a deeper sense of understanding of self makes you more equipped to stand for others and to defend others when you have a solid sense of self, and that comes with spirituality. And so that's why I felt like the two combining made the most sense for me, as history was also my example of that, and my own history was my example of that. So that's how spirituality and then equity kind of came together, and how that started.
And when you say spirituality is liberation work,
hmm
does that
hmm
mean that you have the answers and you're just getting them out?
That's a good question. So I don't like to say I have the answers, because I don't. I don't have the answers on anything. When it comes to big life questions, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
even questions for others, like I don't have the answers. What I hope for when folks come to me or when I have clients is that the liberation work that I help with is your own liberation, your own empowerment. And so I don't have the answers of that. So I don't know what that looks like for you. But what I can do is guide you. What I can do is help you listen to yourself and listen to your own voice that can seem really, really small sometimes. What we do is we amplify it and we highlight it. And essentially, whatever it's saying is the key and answer to liberation for you.
I mean, one of our conversations really changed my whole approach and thoughts about spirituality. My only experience with tarot reading was I would just know my mom would go see what the psychic said, and each time we would just roll our eyes and whatever. So we were not really interested, or we didn't have the belief. We were just thinking at the time that it was a waste of money. And I'm just
Of
saying this
course.
because I changed my thoughts now. I became slowly more interested in spirituality, and until we had one of these conversations where you shared with me what you just shared now, is that you don't have the answers. And both of us, we did a session together, and it's exactly what I felt. Like, I didn't even know why I wanted what outcome, and I shared that with you. Like, I know I want to do this, but I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't have questions. And eventually I got so much matter, like so much answers that came from not even having a question, because it really felt like I was giving a voice to whatever was inside of me that
Mm,
I was turning the volume off on, because
mhm.
for so long I wouldn't follow my intuition. I would tap into other people's ideas and experiences, when actually now the more I speak with women like you, the more I understand how intuition is strong and that we have the answers and we need to trust
Hmm.
ourselves.
You've said it all. You've said it all. And I think it would be disingenuous on my part if I didn't mention the fact that for the longest time, I did not listen to that voice, right?
Yeah.
I think that there were years of my life where I felt you sometimes feel like you're working a little bit on autopilot and you're going about what you think you should be doing or what other people's vision of success is. And you're achieving something that you kind of end up realizing at some point isn't even yours, you know? And
Yeah.
that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable because sure, maybe you could spend the bulk of your life doing this, but what I'm observing, I think that's what makes a lot of people sick. I think a lot of the times when you're on a path that isn't yours, you just know have no idea how you even got there and you end up feeling lost at some point. Your body stores that. Trauma is stored in the body. Lack of happiness and lack of contentment is stored in your body. And I think that we don't listen to ourselves enough. And sometimes the ideas that come out of it may feel absurd or may feel difficult to want to follow. And trust me, I know that. Like I do spiritual work, equity work, and end of life care. Like I don't know many people who do that. I've seen a few, but it's not very common. And so in order for me to have trusted that, I must believe in something, right? But that belief wasn't built overnight. It was something that I worked on. And I just found that in working with my spirituality, in trusting my intuition and continuing to strengthen it as the years went on, the path that I was on felt right, felt authentic. And I want to bring that and share that with other people. But in order to do that, I have to practice what I preach. And I also have to ensure that folks understand and know that it's not a magical solution. I work at it. I work
Yeah.
at it and I work at it with others and I work at it with myself every day. And I wish I had a crystal ball and I could tell everyone this is what's going to happen and this is the future. But I like to think that the future is so malleable. Why would you want to know what's happening to you in 10, 15 years from now? And why would you want that to be your reality or to be sure that that's your reality? The future shifts at all times. It's never concrete. I could have a conversation with a client and tell them you should go right and they decide to go left and that changes the entire trajectory of their life, right? I
Yeah.
think predicting the future takes away agency and takes away free will, which is not what the purpose of life, at least for me, is. So when folks come to me for a reading, I like to let them know that sure, we can do some amount of predicting, but at the end of the day, the decision and the power is in their hands. And I don't want to take power away from people because that's the complete opposite of what I try to do.
Yeah, you said it yourself. You want to empower people with their own choice, their own answers.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So this is a very standard example, but let's say someone will come for love, right? Because a lot of the times people are looking for love and looking for partnership. And what's really important for me there is to ensure that people aren't settling for the idea of partnership, because a lot of the times you may want to be with someone, but then the person that you're with isn't really compatible. So what I like to do with these clients is also tell them, listen, after our interaction, I'm not asking you to stay or leave, but
Right
I
in the
want the
phone
client.
call, right on the spot. Go, go.
I spoke to a reader and she said I should break up with you. Like, yeah, I mean, you can do that, but what I hope for is that even if you decide to stay, you feel empowered in that decision. You have all the information that you need to
Yeah.
make this decision of staying. And even if you decide to leave in 10 years, in 10 months, whatever it may be, that was the time that you needed to
Mm-hmm.
do it. The
Yeah.
reading doesn't mean it has to be now. The reading just gives you the information that you need in order to know what decision to take. But there's no right or wrong decision ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's what feels right for you. But that's a hard thing to listen to because sometimes you want to know what's right, what's wrong. Is it good? Is it bad?
And I guess sometimes you just know, but you don't want to take action based on what you know. So it's scary and difficult, but we have to move forward with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm excited to do a little game I started doing with other guests. But before that, I want to tap more into your experience as being an entrepreneur. What is one failure you had recently that you feel comfortable sharing with us that is going to be probably really a learning experience, right? Is there
Uh-huh.
something that
Uh-huh.
comes to mind?
It's so funny. Okay, well, two things. There's one thing, and it's funny, it involves like us.
Mhm.
So,
I know, I know.
I know, okay. But I don't want it to feel like it's not a failure. You know what I mean? It's a
Mhm.
like you've
Yeah.
said, it's a learning experience. It's hard to get people to join events and to come to things and to know what works and what doesn't. And especially when you're asking people to pay for something, right? Like I know how I am with my money as well. Like I want to be selective on where it goes and I want to ensure that I'm getting what I'm paying for. And it's not to say that we weren't offering that, but I understand maybe the hesitation, right? So hosting our event.
We were promoting an event called a Wellness Slumber Party for
Mhm.
women. Yeah, we worked on it together. We worked on the promotion. And then what happened?
We had to cancel the event due to low ticket sales. And it was, of course, it's disappointing. It's not the end. We will definitely be collaborating again and
Yes.
doing other events, which I know I'm very excited about and looking forward to. But that's the first thing that came to mind. I think it's tough to get people going. And I think if it was for something else, I don't find that I sometimes give myself enough space and breaks. So this is something that's come up recently is I have to find better ways of maintaining boundaries, especially with, end of life care and spiritual work. There's a lot of giving to others. I see it as a form of therapy, right? Clients come to me and I use that time and that space for them to essentially, yeah, to tell me things, right? It's an exchange, but an exchange in the sense of we're exchanging about you, we're exchanging about the other person. And I love that. And that's what I do. And I think there's a part of me that does it naturally for others as well, and for friends and family. That's just how I am, which is why I've been pulled into doing this work. But it sometimes does get a little bit overwhelming when you're giving, 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 and it's funny because it's something that I try to tell others not to do, but then I find myself in that position a lot. It's about finding better boundaries, better limits, and how I replenish my cup after feeling like I've been giving a lot. So with entrepreneurship, I think in general, that's probably a very common issue that people might be experiencing. So it is something that I'm working on to prioritize myself, prioritize my well-being. And I know I love to give, but there has to be a limit, right? Because there's going to come a point in time where I may love to give, but I'll have nothing left to give.
Thank you for sharing this. Do you have any idea on how you're going to do this?
Yeah, good question. I am going to, I think, set limits on my phone, do a little bit more silent mode. I see some people have that on, and I always love it. But I think I need to be more intentional about it and
I
actually
have
have
it
like
on all the time.
good.
I have like, and honestly, I think there's just 2 hours where people can reach me or like call me. From 9 to 5, I have the work mode. Nothing happens. Only Ray, my husband, can call me or text
Yeah.
me. And then I think from maybe 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., I have sleep mode. So it's really between 6 and 9, and then 5 and 10 p.m., I think,
And
that people
yeah.
can call me. But even then, when I see notifications, I'm like, oh no, I'm not ready for this.
I need to take a page out of your book, truly, because I tend to feel overwhelmed. I get really overwhelmed. And I know that I've reached my capacity when I get overwhelmed with the amount of notifications I see on my Instagram or the amount of notifications I see on TikTok or people sending me reels or because it's like I do that too. I love to send people funny things I see, but the amount that I get a day, it's like if I have to watch my content and then watch your content, I will get nothing done. And also, I don't have the capacity. So it's about respecting that and being more mindful about where I want to spend my energy and more intentional about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing about the content thing because there's this book I read a while ago. It's There is no plan B to your A game from Bo
Mm,
Eason. He was an NFL football player, and
mm,
something is said in this book that just sticked with me. is that he's like, he doesn't watch sports. He's a player. He trains, he eats healthy to be his most efficient
Hmm.
on the ground. And he's like, there's a difference between people who watch and people who are the athletes. We're not
Mm,
consumers of sports. So I'm sure he
mm,
will watch sports to learn more about strategy or things like that. But it was really a separation between I am an athlete, I am not a sports consumer. And
mm,
I
mm, mm.
think about this in terms of content creation too. I think they are content creator and content consumers. Of course, as content creators, you want to support other people. You want to learn from the trends or whatever. So you still need to consume a bit of it, but it has to be much more mindful, I believe.
Very true. Very true. And it has to be intentional. And I think that that's something that I'm trying to work on. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it's hard. It's hard to find that balance. And you find yourself kind of dragged into a loop sometimes where I'll be looking at other people's content. There's a fine line between market research and doom scrolling.
Yes.
you know
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it's just not helpful, so it's about maybe disconnecting from my phone a little bit more, creating more intention in how I consume content. Yeah, to being patient with myself as well, because it's hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. Creating those boundaries are difficult, so grace is also very much welcomed as I pivot into a new habit, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And the reason I ask these questions about learning experiences or failures, quote marks,
Hmm.
is really because I find that for so long we were just seeing the shiny sides of entrepreneurship and even social media, like we just talked about, shows us the results more often than the journey. So
Yes.
with that question, I want to give a space to say, hey, I've tried this, I've tried that, didn't work out. I'm going to change my approach next time, or I need to have more boundaries. So this conversation is really to highlight the behind the scene of entrepreneurship because it's hard. All of it is hard. Working for someone else, starting your own business, it's just all hard. It's just which hard are you going to choose? Which one is the one that's going to fulfill you the most? And the follow up question to this is we also don't take enough time to acknowledge our wins because as soon as we complete one, we plan the next objective right after.
Yes.
So I want to celebrate with you and remind the audience to celebrate our wins. And I want to know what is a recent win you have, either personal or professional, that you'd like to share.
I love that. Thank you. So I have a bunch to share. One is to be on this podcast. I mean, this is my first podcast interview ever as an entrepreneur. So I am so, yes, this is a win. I'm
Yes.
so, so, so excited. And this is also, this touches on my love for broadcasting too, right?
Mhm.
Because I love this concept. I love to have conversations and yeah, so to be the not the interviewer, but the interviewee is really cool, and I'm honored. So that's a win for me this week. Another win is a collaboration that I'm doing with a coffee shop called the Rural Roots Cafe. So every Thursday from 2 to 7, I'm reading for the summer so far. So I don't really believe in coincidences and randomness. I think everything happens for a reason. And the way that Sarah, the shop owner, and I got connected was extremely divine. So I'm very, very grateful that she took me on and trusted me. And also, it takes people saying yes. I think in my career, I've heard no so many times and I've had so many doors close that this feels very new to me. But then this also confirms and reaffirms that I'm in the right field and I'm in the right place with the amount of doors and opportunities that are presenting themselves. So she has said yes to me to be a tarot reader for her in her shop. And so I do that every Thursday now. So that's really cool. That's definitely a win. I could probably share many more, but I would say my collaborations, the advancement of Nubian Divinity, and this podcast are my top three. Yeah.
I love that. I actually, I knew about each of this, but this is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And Nubian Divinity also had a rebrand. So I just
Mm-hmm.
finished creating a new logo for Nubian Divinity, and I worked with a graphic designer who did such an amazing job. And I'm just so happy with where it's landed. It's very simple. When you're rebranding like this and you kind of see your vision from a new angle, it's so encouraging. Like it makes me
Mhm.
excited to keep the project going because it's like it's a new vision.
I saw the branding, the rebranding. I especially love your YouTube banner
Ah,
with
thank
the
you.
logo and the NDs. And
Uh-huh,
yeah,
uh-huh,
I think
uh-huh.
it looks gorgeous. It just makes sense. It's like obviously, yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, this project is my child. This
Hmm.
project is my baby. Like, I love to see it grow. I nurture it as much as I can. I'm not always the best parent, but I don't think any
I
parent is
love
ever the
that.
best parent ever.
I
I
love
could
this
always do
metaphor.
better.
Yes. Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
always do better, but yeah.
This baby is going to become an adult that's going to resent you, but still love
Maybe
you.
maybe need
And
some therapy.
yes, yes. Until they have their own child and then they will understand what you went through. But yeah, I love that. I feel like your whole brand and yourself is moving to a new chapter with the collaboration, the content, the rebrand, and it just makes it all more one. I love the direction this is taking for you.
Thank you. And I'm so grateful that you're a part of it too. You can't do anything without support. I think there's a lot of times I want to believe like I can do it on my own, but I can't and I don't. My husband is my number one supporter. And then there's friends and family and, my community that plays a huge role in me pushing through and wanting to make it work. So I think a lot of the times when we see things move forward, we think, oh, like it's so good, but I also want to give acknowledgement that I don't do it on my own. It wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for the support that I get.
This is so important. I'm glad you took the time to share this. I want to add why. Why would we want to do it on our own? Just to get to
Hmm.
the top and then being on your riches by yourself? It's like, no. Yeah,
What's the point? What's the
that's the
point? You want
point.
to do it
Mhm.
together. You want to do it in community. And I definitely get a lot of support, and it cannot be done without that. A lot of us struggle with asking for help. Sometimes we struggle with the vulnerability that it takes as well to saying that you can't do it on your own, but it's so rewarding. So take it. If someone wants to help you, just take it. It's so much easier and it's just a lot more sustainable when you have other people that are behind you and on your team.
I will take this advice too, absolutely. And I want to take the few last minutes we have together to do
Hmm.
the game, the Wheel of Life game, which is inspired from my learnings from Tony Robbins. We're going to spin the wheel. Actually, I'm going to do it because it's digital. And
Sure.
whatever category we fall on, I will have a specific question that we will both answer.
Let's go. Oh, this is
Can
so
you?
cute. I
All
can see
right,
it. I love it.
let's go.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the category celebrate and contribute. What is one cause or project you dream of contributing to someday?
Mm, so many, so many, so many. So right now for my end of life work, it's pro bono because I just finished my death doula certification and you have to commit to a year before you can start charging for those services. One of my plans is that eventually I plan on offering sort of a sliding scale approach to my services with end of life work. So it's to get to a place where that sliding scale for me is sustainable, first of all. And for those who find themselves in positions where they might not be able to afford my services, that I have enough clients where I'm able to help them continue to offer some of those services for free. So to keep volunteering essentially is something that I want to keep doing, and especially for end of life work. There are certain causes that I would like to be able to have an amount of Nubian Divinity funds go to. I am a very strong believer in some of the benefits of cannabis, but I also do recognize that there are a lot of folks in the states, especially who are incarcerated, for having like amounts that today are given away at dispensaries. Like it's not even sold, it's quite literally part of gift packages, and some people are still in jail. So having maybe some amounts of Nubian Divinity like go to cases like that, where cases can be reviewed for crimes that today don't hold that same weight. So to help and give back to that, the example is comes to mind with cannabis because that's what came to me quicker. But it could be truly with an organization that I holds weight within Nubian Divinity's practices and values. I'd like maybe 10% or 5% of those proceeds to go automatically to one of those causes. Yeah, so that's the goal in the next little while.
One of them, the first one with end of life care, it's already something you're doing. Of course, your business has to be sustainable. Money is often demonized, but
Hmm.
when you have a successful business, then you
Yep.
have the means to create, like you say, a sliding scale of pricing. You can give back. I think there should be no shame about wanting to grow a business and make more
Hmm.
money, because then you have more means to just contribute.
To share and to give, absolutely. And you have to answer this too. So how about
Yes,
you?
yes. What's one cause or project you dream of contributing to someday? So when I
Hmm.
was earning an income, I created an automation rule in my bank accounts to save 1% from everything I was making. And at the end
Very
of the
cool.
year, I could give back. What I like about this 1% is that it's 1% of what you
Mm-hmm.
make. It's not like saving $1,000. It's really, if my income was bigger some months or other months it was tiny, it was always 1%. I had literally no excuses. So the causes I was giving back to at the time were tree planting. Also, there's a clinic in Toronto I go to, which is called Hassle Free Clinic, and
Oh
they
yeah, yeah.
give contraceptive
Yep.
solutions. And I don't have a doctor, a family
Hmm.
doctor here. I've been 10 years in Canada. Still not sure I understand how the system works. So
Hmm.
I go to this place and I know I can sign up, I can just show up and I'm given care. And I think
Hmm.
it's fantastic. I put this on my list of the places to give back to, because you just arrived to a new country, you need contraceptive or just to do testing, you go there and it's free. There are so many cultures, as you know, in Toronto, in Canada, that not everybody is safe having those conversations about sexual health. So the
Yes.
fact that there are
Yes.
places like this, I think it's incredibly necessary.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I very much resonate with that. And we both kind of said we want to give back. Yeah, that's where we feel our business will be. It's like will reach its level of success or will be. I think that was the bulk of the question, like what's kind of the next step? And it's in being
Yeah.
able to have enough to give back. And that's
Yes.
I love that. That's why we'll succeed. That's because
Yes.
that's where our head is at.
And with both our answers, we can definitely see how we can start already today at the level we are, and
Agree.
then it will just grow with our businesses.
Hmm.
Okay, so I will spin the wheel a second time.
Let's go. Ooh.
So for the next category, we have emotions and meaning. Okay, what is one small thing that instantly lifts your mood?
Food. No, like food for real. But okay, let me think. Let me think. Other than food,
Okay, tell me then, what foods?
oh, sushi.
I
I
see
love
you
sushi.
salivating. You just okay, and it's almost
Sushi.
lunchtime with this
I know.
interview, so
Well, that's probably why. But no, I okay, truly, truly, if I want to find something like something small that lifts my spirit, I love being on the couch with my cats. I love being outside and like on a breezy day and having like a ray of sun, like feel the heat of the sun. Something that I started doing this week actually is I started biking. places.
Okay.
And something that brought me joy was when I'm going down a hill and the wind, like the breeze of my speed on the bike, like little pleasures and things that we don't think about or that we take for granted are things that help me remember and remind myself of just how grateful I am to just be alive and to be here and to get to experience these things because all that is temporary, right? It's these little pleasures, these little moments, these little pockets of time, like road tripping with my husband too. Like we drive to go see my parents in Ottawa, for example, like the drive there, it's 5 hours, it's long, but we make the most out of it. We stop at some of my favorite stores. I love to go to metaphysical stores. So we'll stop in those stores in between the small town between Toronto and Ottawa, and we'll listen to music and I'll sing and we'll go get like a drink. It's small, but that just brings me so much peace and so much joy. And it's finding truly, as cheesy as it sounds, but it's finding the meanings in the moments that you don't feel would have meaning. That's what brings me the most peace and joy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. It's unplanned also. It's just they're coming
Yes.
your way and you have the opportunity to enjoy them right now or they will just leave.
Exactly. Exactly. So I do my best to enjoy them right now. How about you? What would you say?
Well, when you say food, it wasn't the first one that came to mind, but I was like, duh, how did I forget about this? Of course. When Ray tells me, oh, let's get pizza, and we're just both
Yeah.
dancing, like, yeah. And
Oh,
so,
that's
but
silly.
I'm annoyed that it's food though. I would choose the other one that came to mind right away, which is music. There are
Oh,
specific songs. I guess when I'm in a bad mood or
mm,
I
mm.
don't feel motivated, sometimes I know what will uplift my spirits, but I don't do it because I guess I'm comfortable being sad.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's like, oh, do I want to leave that state when I actually, cuddle myself and like sit in my own sadness because
Hmm.
it's my emotional home. So sometimes
Yes,
I don't always choose to go for that thing that will uplift my mood. When I
yes.
do, I love a good music. I have a trampoline playlist because we have a mini trampoline. So it's like EDM, but also funk music. It just makes you you don't know why, but you start like moving your shoulders and your body is moving and then you just find yourself just swinging left and right. So
I
yeah, I'm
love
gonna
it.
say music. Yeah.
That's such a good one. Music is a staple too. And it's I know this would probably tap into a whole other podcast and a whole other conversation. I just did a 3-day juice cleanse.
Oh,
I've
okay.
come out of a 3-day juice cleanse. Yeah, and it was one.
Another win.
It's a win. That's another win. You're right. You're right. And but the reason why I say that it's because when I said food too, it's something that I'm trying to reframe as well. But I wouldn't say that I have like a unhealthy relationship with food, but I definitely am someone that lives to eat. I don't eat to live.
Same
And
here.
the juice cleanse sort of helped to redefine my relationship with food a little bit because it is fuel. You actually eat it because you need it, not because it tastes good. Not because it tastes good. So it's kind of learning that, but I also don't think that there's anything wrong. Of course, if you do it in, in a healthy or whatever a healthy way looks like for you, there's nothing wrong in treating yourself sometimes, right? And food is good. We have turned it into more than just fuel. We've turned it into part of our culture, part of our experience, a part of like, it's in everything that we do. So it can be tricky, but it's made good for a reason. And sometimes it does bring the comfort that it needs. And that's okay too. And
I
that's okay
agree.
too.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. I just feel from this conversation that we could have it go 4 more hours. There will be more episodes. I just can sense it. So, but I'm super happy with what we've discussed today. And
Thank
for
you.
our audience who may not have the chance to be able to see you again next week, where can they get all of your knowledge and your personality and learn more about what you do?
Thank you. So where I can be found is on Instagram. So you can find me at Nubian underscore divinity, which is where I'm the most active. I also have a link in my link tree. So once you go to my Instagram, you can click the link in my bio and also sign up for my newsletter. So there's a newsletter that will be coming hopefully in the fall. So please sign up for that. I can be found on YouTube, also same Nubian Divinity, and I have a website. Like I've mentioned, my end of life work is pro bono. So anyone that would need support in that can send me a message and we can see like what I can assist you with. You could book a reading through my website, which is www.nubiandivinity.com. There's a lot of things coming down the pipeline, but they're all in my head. They're not out just yet. Follow the journey, follow along, see what's coming up next, because I know Nubian Divinity is sometimes developing and expanding faster than I'm ready for. So hop on the journey. We're going far, and I'm excited to take people with me.
Just to clarify, you offer virtual readings as well?
Yes, so I offer virtual readings. I can do in person for folks who are in the GTA. Just message me and we'll see what can be worked out. But for the most part, my readings are done online. And I
Okay.
find that I know people get a little skeptical about readings online and they think, oh, it's not the same. But I promise you, the setup is really intuitive as well. So you don't really feel like you're kind of missing that in-person touch. I make sure that you have everything that you need. I send you the material after. So give it a try.
Yeah, and I've experienced it, and I agree. You have the whole setup. I really enjoyed my experience.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Before
Oh,
we leave,
yes.
I just wanted to pull a card for your audience. Whoever's listening to this podcast, this is a timeless reading. So at any time that you're listening to this, this is the message that folks may be needing to hear. Again, I like to say, take what resonates, leave the rest. The message that I will be leaving you with is peace. This is the card that came out. It's peace. And it says, I am a being of love and I release all negative energy. I love that. This is a gentle reminder that balance in the mind is imperative in order for your soul to live its true nature. At this time in your life, you are to learn the value of peace and quiet and the joy of being still. One can never be truly connected to the source when the mind is engaged with unneeded chatter. Look around your life and be conscious of what elements are taking you away from the peaceful nature of your soul. Who or what is interrupting this solitude? It is time to reconcile past hurts and perceived injustices. Your peace may also be fostered by changing your outside view. So create harmony around you physically with order and calm. Trust the voice of your higher self to create an environment in which you can truly be in tune with your soul. Love that.
I can see many ways it resonates with our conversations today. Thank you so much for sharing, Mel, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, Juliette. This was wonderful. Congratulations again, and keep doing the work that you do. It's excellent work. It's helping a lot of people. It's so beneficial, and we're so grateful to have you in the community. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you so much, Mel.